this next one, you know?
Oh, okay, I see it.
Yeah, you just hit.
Okay, there you go.
Right up there.
Right up here. Yep. Gotcha.
Oop, the wrong one. That's the one. So is everybody on? Not yet? 1, 2. Gotta wait for Karen, right?
Karen's coming now. Yep. Oh, wait a minute, Steve.
I should be there. Can you see me?
We can. It's like your picture, Karen.
There
Oh,
you are. Yeah.
there you
you
are. Oh.
I had not having a good time of this tonight. Oh well.
I'm not either.
Can you see me now?
No.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Popping in and out. I don't know
Well,
why
Yeah.
it's doing that.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to try to log back in. I'm sorry for the holdup. Hold
That's
on.
all right. Take your
Okay,
time.
we have time anyway.
Steve raised his hand. Did you raise your hand, Steve?
Steve, you have to take yourself off mute, buddy.
My wife was doing laundry, so I put it on mute.
Okay.
There you go, Steve. It's in the rinse cycle.
You can hear it? God damn it.
It's totally fine. I just figured
All right, you're gonna have to turn that off.
No, you don't. No.
Oh my gosh, let her finish the wash.
All right, leave it on. They don't care.
Yeah.
All right, for the record, we are in open session, Steve. Before you,
All right. Everybody's here at 6:30.
hang on. I was looking at Aubrey's face.
I'm just making sure we're live streaming right now.
Mr. Monty's on mute.
We are. We're all set.
Okay. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nope, no worries.
All right, open session's about to start. 6:31. Roll call, please, Michelle.
Mr. Lawton,
Here.
Mr. Cologne,
Here.
Mr. Kutu,
Here.
Mrs. Saint Amand. Here. Mr. DiMartino.
Here,
Joe, can you read the mission statement for us, please?
sure. The West Warwick Public Schools, in partnership with the entire community, is dedicated to providing all learners with access and opportunity to a challenging, comprehensive education while developing 21st century skills in a safe, personalized learning environment.
Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Superintendent's report.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody.
Do you have to
Sorry
seal
for-
the executive minutes? I'm sorry, I didn't raise my hand.
Oh, you're right. Good catch. Good catch.
You're
Joe.
right.
Can we have a motion to seal the executive session minutes, please?
Make a motion.
Motion by Joe.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay, Karen.
Okay. Just a few things tonight. First of all, I would just like to thank everybody in the district and in the town that made graduation for this year's graduating class of 2020 a special event. It was, we all know it's not what they deserved, wanted, planned for, always waited for. But I really want to sincerely thank everybody that put in the effort to have all the award ceremonies done virtually, and the graduation video was wonderfully done. So I thank everybody from property services to the school administrators, the district administrators, the students and the families. Everybody came together and we ended up with some really nice events for the kids. So I just really wanted to thank everybody. And we had the parade this past
That was sad.
weekend.
That was good.
A nice collaboration between the town council and the school department. So I want to thank the members of the town council for working with us and the West Warwick Police Department, because without them manning the streets and blocking the roads and making sure that the kids were all escorted safe, all about town, and we wouldn't have been able to do it. So we ended up with a really fun, safe event for the kids. So sincerely, thank you to everybody involved.
It's beautiful. Thank you, Karen, for all your efforts.
Thank you.
Well, my pleasure. Just a quick note. The last day of school is this Friday, June 12th. And believe it or not, who would have thought our journey in the past few months would have been what it has been? But again, I want to thank everybody. March 13th, we were told to go home and have April vacation the next week, and then we didn't go back, but continued with our distance learning. And although not perfect and there were things to work out, certainly the best possible experience we could have provided the kids with that abrupt of a change. So I just want to thank everybody. We're going to end the year on a good note, and that would not have been possible without everybody's dedication and hard work, as always. Summer school will be virtually this year. It'll be distance learning, just like we've been doing. And more information will be coming out about that. It'll be our typical process in that it'll be a workshop model, which we've done for many years now. And so the schools will be sending out more information about that. So today in the governor's press conference, Governor Raimondo made a very big announcement about two things. One, the first being the unified school calendar for the state next year. In other words, every district in the state will start school on the same day and roughly about the same day. It will be 180 days, but some school departments, their contracts call for more days, 84, some 85 or 86. The school vacations will be the same. Holidays will be the same. They did throw in some new things regarding PD days, similar to what they did in the spring. So there'd be a little bit, my understanding at this point is a little bit of flexibility within districts around that, but we need to learn more about that. So that was the first announcement. And the other announcement she made was that regarding the opening of school for this coming fall, she made the statement that there will be a state goal of getting all kids back to school. Now, I just want to clarify that a little bit. That's a goal of getting all of the kids back. We don't know yet what the reality is going to be, because in order to return all kids and all adults, all staff back safely is going to be contingent on a lot of things. And in order to do it safely, we need to follow the CDC guidance around the coronavirus and returning kids, anybody, to the school buildings in a safe way. So we have been involved in many conversations already before today about the reopening of school and the possibilities, and largely waiting on that guidance around what would be considered safe. How many kids in a classroom? What are the cleaning and disinfecting protocols we'll need to follow? Will people need to wear masks or not? What would transportation look like? Those types of things. So a lot of those questions are still unanswered. So I was in meetings all day today from beginning to end, the latest one right before this meeting, about this very subject. So in regards to school opening in the fall, we'll keep parents and families informed and posted along the way as we learn things throughout the summer. So the other challenge is working with the information we have now and the data and the guidance from the CDC is what we'll be planning on. But we were also told from the state agencies today to expect that data to change, as the coronavirus data changes over the summer, and they expect it to, and hopefully in a positive way, they may release some of the restrictions. In other words, they may allow for more kids to be on a bus, more kids to be in one classroom at one time. So this is definitely going to be a moving target and a moving conversation all summer. We're on top of it. We're going to be coordinating with the unions to make sure that the only way we could possibly come back is if we coordinate our efforts. So our district, we'll be pulling together our district team, and like I said, between the Superintendent's Association, the Principals Association, RIDE, the Department of Health, and the Governor's Office, this will be a very tight it's a complicated problem to solve. So we need to be in tight communication, which we will be. And as we learn things and develop, we'll be rolling it out to the district and the town and families as we learn. So I just wanted to, I don't want to say caution, but I just wanted to clarify what the governor's comment meant today when she said the state goal will be for every student to go back. Because there's very, very strict guidelines we're going to need to follow. Every district is going to need to follow to return people safely. So I just wanted to comment that much on it. We don't have any answers yet. All of this just happened today. It was somewhat of an abrupt announcement. We knew they were going to be making an announcement about the calendar, but not to the extent of the state goal of all kids coming back. So as that conversation unfolds and opens up, we'll be back with more information.
Karen, I have a question.
Yeah.
We are, is there a requirement that we submit our plan on what we're going to do? And
Right.
what's the date for that?
Right. So this was new today as well. We found out today that July 17th, we need to submit a plan for approval. Now, when I asked about the approval process, it's similar to what higher ed, they're doing with the higher ed institutes. And the goal of the review and approval process is around just what I said, around a safe return to school. So RIDE will have a process and protocol for the review, and the Department of Health is going to be aligned with the Department of Ed, with RIDE, to ensure the proper guidance around the health and safety portion of the plan.
So we're going to need to have a plan to open August 31st without knowing what the restrictions are going to be.
Right. So all we can do, I know that's what I was saying before. It's a really complicated problem to solve.
Yep.
But all we can do is jump in with the information we have now. And we've been promised by the state agencies that as their information updates, they'll let us know. So
The reality is everyone's in the same boat, right?
every single district is in the same boat. Every single district is having, the same budget concerns we are, in terms of they don't know what their state aid is going to be. Conversations around transportation. So the good news is the Superintendent's Association is working very closely together, and we've started conversations with our unions to make sure we can align to problem solve together. So, and we've been told part of the planning will be to, get as many people back to school in person as we can, but also with contingency plans to go out on distance learning at any given time. If there should be an outbreak in a school, if there should be an outbreak in the district or the town, similar to what happened this year. So that's a big part of what we're expected to plan for in the upcoming year. So they're using the word hybrid model, sometime in school, sometime out of school, and to plan on getting as many people back into the school buildings as safely as possible. So that's what we know now. It's a very complicated problem. There's a million pieces to it that will affect every part of our work, every department. There is no doubt it will have a strong impact on our budget. It's going to cost money, more money. So we know that. For several different reasons, cleaning supplies, masks, possible staffing. So we're going to dive in and just kind of start to pull it apart and see what it looks like, and build some possible scenarios.
Okay.
And I will keep you informed along the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, 12, discussion approval consent agenda. A, open session minutes, May 12th, 2020. B, executive session minutes, May 12th, 2020. C, special meeting open session minutes, May 28th, 2020. D, special meeting executive session minutes, May 28th, 2020. And finally, E, payment of bills, $1,071,400 $527.55.
I'll make a motion.
Motion, seconded.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is Joe here today?
He is.
I am here.
My
Joe.
man.
Hi, Joe.
How is everybody?
Good.
About your dad.
Good, thanks. All right, so the packet I gave to you, for the financial report for the period of May 31st, 2020, as of that date, we utilized 78.9% of our FY20 budget. This is 11% increase, or $4.7 million from the same period in March, 1 month ago. And 4.5 million of that increase is related to salaries and benefits. Nothing unusual in the budget. Unless there's any specific questions I could answer, I'd be happy to.
Nope. I'm gonna buy you a box of pencils and a sharpener, buddy.
Thanks,
Or
I'm gonna
another
need it. We
computer
need the funding.
screen.
I know you
Somebody's
are.
got 3 going at once.
Thank you, Joe.
As far as the school lunch deficit goes, as of June 8th, 2020, we had 1,085 accounts with negative balances totaling $45,528.78. This is a 2% decrease when compared to June 6th of last year with the annual change, and it's a 0.1% decrease when compared to last month. There were 6 accounts paid off or paid towards since 5/8/2020, totaling about $57.15. Our outstanding balance represents 19,374 lunches, and we are continuing to provide an average of 2,284 lunches per week during the pandemic right now.
Wow.
And that's
Joe, quick question. The lunches that we provided, does that add up to more or fewer than what we would have been providing if schools were open?
the 2,000 lunches. It's definitely fewer than what we normally provide.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay.
Joe, you're going to stay on for the deficit reduction plan, right?
Yeah.
Well, first we're going to go to number 14, a discussion/approval of budget transfers. And I recommend to the school committee that there be a discussion/approval of the budget transfers as outlined in your packet. And Joe, I'll ask you if you would jump back in and discuss those 2 transfers.
Okay, there were 2 budget transfers done between the school committee periods that are exceeded $5,000. The normal process is to get approval before those transfers are done, but we considered both of these transfers as emergency needs, and mainly due to the availability of the product and the pricing that we're getting on the product. The first one was done on May 27th, and it was a $200,000 transfer. We moved from the transportation lines, which we're realizing is saving, to the tech-related hardware lines for the purchase of Chromebooks due to remote learning needs. And again, the main reason for that done prior to approval was the availability of the product and the pricing. Chromebooks are very hard to come by right now. Everybody's buying them up, so we took advantage of it when we could. On June 1st, we also transferred $100,000, same thing, from transportation to custodial supplies for the purchase of PPE supplies. For the same reason, we needed to get those supplies in as soon as we can and to get the good pricing that we've got. So I'm just bringing them forward to you now for approval after the fact.
Right, and thanks, Joe, and
Yep.
that's a good explanation, and thank you, and that's not something we would normally do, but to Joe's point of availability and pricing and the uncertainty of next year, we're lucky to find them back ordered on all types of technology and PPE, so it was a seize the moment kind of purchases.
So
Right.
basically,
I
So
move
big
that we
clarification.
accept it, yeah.
No, I just want to say that was great clarification. I appreciate it. I was a little stumped at like why we would do that now, seeing as we were all already in the midst of distance learning for all of this time. But the fact that you made it clear that, you know, there's going to come next year opportunities where Chromebooks are going to be falling apart. Some things are going to happen. Things are going to be there, and then they're going to be impossible to get. So it was great that you guys jumped on it.
I
Thank you.
agree.
quick
All right.
question, Joe.
I don't
Yes.
have a question. I'm just moving to.
I got a question.
to approve it.
Hands up.
Go ahead.
So Joe, just to summarize, so we're taking money from transportation that we're not using and being proactive and buying stuff for next year and whatnot, correct?
Correct,
That is correct, yes.
I need to know.
right.
Okay. Any questions? Any other questions? All right. Can we have a motion to accept?
Yeah, move that we accept it.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye. Thanks,
Great
Joe.
job. That was good.
Thank you.
Joe.
Okay.
Okay,
15, discussion approval fiscal year 21 deficit reduction plan and amended budget.
members of the school committee, I recommend that there be a discussion/approval of the FY21 deficit reduction plan and amended budget. If you recall, at our last school committee meeting, we had to make some really very difficult decisions. Just to recap, because of the uncertainty of our anticipated state aid for next year, we had to cut $1.9 million out of the budget we approved earlier this spring in order to present a balanced budget, which by statute we're required to do. So after we made those adjustments and issued the layoff notices, as well as the removal of 4 positions, Joe went back and amended the budget. So he's here tonight to discuss the deficit reduction plan. Outside of the layoffs and position reductions, he's going to talk about where in the budget he also made reductions to come up with the 1.9 million. And we also present the amended budget for approval. So Joe, if you would.
Okay, just a brief statement. We anticipated this aid of $1,952,308 being cut. This is based on a projection that we received, probably the last notice we've got, that they're going to maintain a maintenance of effort based on the average of the last 3 years state aid. There has been talk that they were going to level fund us back to 2018, which would be over a $4.5 million cut. We're choosing to be optimistic that won't happen. And essentially what's happening now is we're looking at level funding from 2020 to 2021. In the packet I gave you, let me pull up my sheet real quick. I gave you the deficit reduction plan along with the new amended budget. And I'd just like to run through each of the items on here just so you have an understanding of what it is we're cutting and where we're saving.
Good.
I show the revenue reduction of 1.9 million on the sheet that needs to be covered. And one of the things I did is I increased employee turnover. And turnover is when an employee leaves the district and we hire another employee that may be at a less step and less cost. So there's a savings in the budget there. We average somewhere between $250,000 to $350,000 a year of that turnover. So I increased the 280 that we had in the original budget to 300,000. So it gave us a $20,000 additional savings.
Okay.
The layoffs and cuts that you approved at the previous meetings, that's what results in the salary savings and also results in all the benefit savings that you see on this sheet. Those are, those positions that are cut or being unfilled resulted in over, I think it was about 1.2 million, $1.3 million. I did cut the substitute line by 20%. I know that's a dangerous thing to do. We spend about $1.2 million in subs, but with some of the other cuts that are happening, we may be able to cover that cost without any problems. We're making an adjustment to the summer school. We're looking at the staffing. We're going to see if we can reduce that staffing by about 10%. So that's what I took from that line. I did find in the process of doing this a couple of items that were either duplicated in the budget. When the system runs the salaries, benefits, and stipends and things, it does it automatically. I found a couple duplicates, and I found some missing coach lines. So you'll see our duplicate stipend of $69.85 taken out. But you'll also see that there were some additional coaches that were not in there that I wanted to make sure are in the budget. And that's the added $17,775. We eliminated all overtime throughout the district. There'll be no overtime approved or unapproved. Anybody that works extra hours, technically, they're doing us a favor. recommend we don't, but we had to cut all that overtime. As far as professional development goes, we eliminated all professional development that's funded by the local fund only, except for handle with care training and CPR training. So our total salary savings with those items was just under $1.3 million. If we move down, you'll see life insurance, medical, dental, pension, FICA, Medicare. Those are all, again, related to those salary reduction position layoffs. Unemployment costs. What I did for that is unemployment average is about 3.5% of their highest quarter of the past 5 quarters, I believe it is, not even the 4. So I took these positions that had the layoffs or cuts, took the budgeted amount that we were planning to pay them, divided it by 4, and said, okay, I'm going to apply that 3.5% to that. And it's over a 26-week period. So it's aggressive, it's conservative, it's saying that they're going to stay laid off the entire period. It probably won't be the case. I know it's not our goal to make that the case, but I had to budget that way just to be on the safe side in case it does happen. So with that added cost of $140,000, our benefit savings is just under $560,000. We've always had a line in our budget for building improvements, which is basically what we use to allocate for any capital needs that need to be done that's outside of our 5-year plan. That's $100,000. That line was also cut. That covers our deficit of $1.9 million. We're hopeful that I come back to you again for amended budget to bring a lot of this back into the I hope that clears it up. I hope it's not too convoluted. The amended budget that you see that follows, all it does is give you the FY19 actuals that we spent, shows you the 21 amended line, and the 21 budget proposed actually should have been budget that was approved by the school committee, just so you can see the lines and how they're affecting each one.
So I do have one question,
Sure.
if you would, please. So the unemployment cost, I know you said was aggressive at the 139,384, but so that, if I'm not correct, that's what percent of, and that is based on the layoffs, cuts, and salary savings of 894?
Yeah, yes, it's you got to kind of net the two of them, because you have a salary savings of a teacher that may be $150,000 benefits and everything, but
Right.
that teacher may cost us, $40,000 in unemployment.
Gotcha.
So it's the net of the two.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Basically, in this year's budget, I looked at the cost.
I'm sorry, Joe. I can't hear you.
Hear me? Can you hear me?
Very, very slightly, Joe. I don't know if you got something covering the microphone or something.
No, I don't. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can. Much
All
better.
right, I'll try to just speak louder. Okay. It appears that in this year's budget, we're going to have a pretty substantial savings. And I know that has to go into the capital fund. So I think it's smart to take that $100,000 out of the building improvements, because we're going to get more into capital this year than next year. So my only question is, can we do more of that? Can we put more money into capital this year and then have the cuts be less drastic in next year's budget?
Well, I think we're confusing the two. The capital, you talking about the 5-year capital plan?
No, I'm talking about if we have if we make a net, if we have a net, my understanding is that net has to go into the capital budget. Capital, where does it go? So if we spend $300,000 or $400,000 less than budgeted this year, we can't roll that over. It has to go into capital. What does it have to go into?
Well, what it does, it goes into the fund balance, not capital.
Okay.
And the fund balance, it stays there until and then we can allocate that. What we've done is we did move $1 million into our capital projects plan this year already.
Okay.
And we can move money, but moving it into the capital plan or even the capital line, if it's in the general fund, it doesn't really do anything except we're going to spend money on our buildings and our facilities.
Yeah. Okay.
But if it goes into the capital projects fund, that's going to tie up that money, because now it's restricted only for the capital.
And you don't want that.
So that's where it goes. It goes into the cap. So when you have, like, you took the $100,000 out of building improvements.
Yes.
that something that is now going to be covered from the capital improvement funds?
Well, what'll happen is we have a 5-year capital plan
Okay,
that is approved by RIDE,
Yeah.
and we get reimbursement on that at 64%.
okay,
Those projects will continue because that's been funded.
Yep.
But anything outside of it, like if let's say the administration building had a building problem, it wouldn't be funded next year.
Yep.
You know, we'd have to find a way to either fund the problem or hold off on fixing the repair until we had the money available. Because when we have a surplus, Joe, at the end of any year, it doesn't go in any kind of capital. It just goes in our fund balance. And
okay.
it stays as a reserve for
So it
us.
has to be used for what the fund balance is used for. Not-
Yeah, we have committed fund balance for unanticipated costs, so we
Yeah.
can use it for that. Then we have a portion of that has to be for cash reserve. We have to have cash on hand. And then there's what we call unassigned beyond that, where it's not committed to any.
Right, okay. And I'm just, looking for, is there any way we can cut back on some of the cutbacks, okay? Okay. And it's, especially since we're gonna have, it appears as though with the transportation and everything else, we're gonna have a fair amount expended, fair amount of things not expended that we had anticipated in the budget for this year.
Absolutely.
And I'm just wondering if there's some way we can use that to improve our budget for next year. And I know we can't just roll it over. I got that. Okay, got that. But if, to the extent we're gonna, so I think you've already done that with the building improvements amount, Joe. And I think you've also done it, with buying computers this year that will be used next year. I mean, I think you've done a lot of it already. I'm just wondering if there's anything more that we could do in that realm.
I think the only thing we can do is it all comes down to funding from the state and what kind of restrictions we're going to have on our CARES funding.
Yeah.
But it sounds to me from what I heard today from the governor's speech and from the commissioner, that CARES funding is specifically for COVID-related needs.
Yep.
And I'll be honest with you, if it's true that we're going to have to triple our bus routes, we're in trouble. We already have a $2.5 million transportation budget. You triple that, and we're in trouble.
Yep.
Right. And, just staffing needs, if class sizes have to be smaller than they are now, and we have to basically, divide classrooms up, that's a significant increase in staffing needs. So there's an awful lot of unknowns.
Yeah, right. There are.
Joe, thanks for clarifying that. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
So we need a motion to
Take a vote on this, right?
Yeah.
We need a motion and a second, please.
All right, I move that we approve it.
Motion by Joe, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
16, charter schools. I don't have any,
Great. We, at the last school committee meeting, we decided that there's some attention was brought to the charter schools and what our enrollment is at those schools from our district. And we asked Aubrey to get some information about that for us.
Yeah, so the superintendent sent me over our charter school enrollment numbers and what schools students were enrolled at. So they're at 8 different charter schools. I sent out an APRA request to all 8 of those charter schools, basically asking, did you take the PPP money? And if so, how much? And first, did you apply for it? Did you receive it? How much? And did you give it back or did you keep it? So I have 2 responses so far. One, which was from the Village Green Charter School, where they didn't apply for it, didn't take it, don't want it. And then the second one was from Kingston Hill, where they, I think it was Kingston Hill, where they applied for it and then then withdrew their application before they received any funds. So we have 6 more left to hear back from, and we can bring this back up if we figure out that any of them did in fact receive the PPP.
Okay.
Great. Thanks, Aubrey.
thank you.
Thank you, Aubrey.
Thank you.
Okay. 17, discussion approval, first reading of policies. A, VA1, user-friendly schools.
Okay, so I recommend to the school committee, there be a discussion / approval of the first reading of the user-friendly schools policy. And we recommend that it be deleted. And just like we've talked about in each one of these meetings, they're either obsolete or they're covered by current law.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sue,
Second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. B, VA2, assignment of students to schools.
I recommend that there be a discussion / approval of the first reading of the assignment of students to schools policy, and it's a revision. And as always, in your packet, you had the revised, the original copy, redlined, and then the new version with the changes.
Yeah, a quick question. I'm wondering, what's the rationale to move from allowing kids to complete the school year versus completing the semester?
Well, it depends on a lot of different things. Sometimes it's the circumstances of the request. Sometimes it's the space in our schools.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's dependent on the programming. So we always take any of these situations. They don't happen very often. Sometimes they do, but we always take the circumstances into consideration. And always our intent is to help students and their families.
Okay, to me, it seems like, having it be 1 year rather than a semester would be a little more likely to be palatable for the next student. That's,
Yeah. And the semester is the law, Joe. Apparently, some.
okay. That
Never
answers.
did.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're welcome.
We have a motion to accept the changes.
So
Make a
moved.
motion to accept.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
And 17C, the last one, which is VA3, resident students, to be deleted.
I recommend that there be a discussion / approval of the first reading of the resident schools policy and to be deleted.
We have a motion to accept the deleted policy.
Make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion,
Second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
On to 18. Discussion approval, second reading of policies. A, bloodborne pathogens.
I recommend that there be a discussion / approval of the second reading of the bloodborne pathogen policy as revised.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great. 18B, loan of textbooks.
I also recommend there be a discussion / approval of the second reading of the loan of textbooks policy to be deleted.
I'll make a
Karen,
motion.
what is this?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
We have a
Karen. Is this just like why is this again? I know we covered it once before.
Yeah.
So it's really because right now, it's the law that we need to provide those textbooks. And if for some reason that law were to change, it would be a big cost savings to the district. And so at that point, I just think that when we talked about it, you probably should have the flexibility to decide what you
Okay.
want to do as opposed to being set in a policy.
Okay, sounds good. Perfect. I recall. Thank you.
Yeah, this was one of those very old policies. This was originally adopted in 1981. So
Right.
it's one of those really old
Yeah.
ones.
Makes me feel really, really old, but okay. I'll make a motion to accept the removal of the policy.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, 19, approval maternity leave request, kindergarten teacher over at Greenbush.
Oh, I think we have one more policy.
We got one more, 18C, Steve.
My bad.
That's okay.
D7, donation of obsolete computer hardware.
I recommend that there be a discussion / approval of the donation of obsolete computer hardware. And we're recommending, this is a second reading, this policy be deleted.
I remember discussing this. By the time we're done with our stuff, it's completely obsolete. So I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, now 19, maternity leave request to kindergarten teacher Greenbush.
Members of the school committee, I recommend you approve the request for maternity leave from a kindergarten teacher at Greenbush Elementary School.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Then we have some resignations, acceptance of resignations. A, long-term substitute special education teacher John F. Deering.
Members of the school committee, I recommend that you accept the resignation from a long-term substitute special education teacher at John F. Deering Middle School, effective 5/20/2020.
Make a motion.
Need a motion?
I made a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
Seconded by Lou. All in favor?
Aye.
20B, full-time special education, self-contained teacher assistant at Greenbush.
Members of the school committee, I recommend that you accept the resignation of a full-time special education, self-contained teacher in the therapeutic program, teacher assistant, in the therapeutic program at Greenbush Elementary School, effective 4/24/20.
Make a motion.
Motion? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
I believe we're on C, part-time kindergarten teacher assistant at Wakefield Hills.
Members of the school committee, I recommend that you accept the resignation from a part-time kindergarten teacher assistant at Wakefield Hills Elementary School, effective 8/21/20.
Make a motion.
Motion by Sue,
Second.
second by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
And the last resignation, part-time second shift custodian, Wakefield Hills.
Members of the school committee, I recommend that you accept the resignation from a part-time second shift custodian at Wakefield Hills Elementary School, effective 6/3/20.
Make a motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Audience of citizens, I'm not sure if there's anybody out there. that
Yep,
would
we
like
got Sean Doyle.
There is a member of the community that filled in the information online. It was sent to Michelle, and he is in the audience and ready to go as well.
Okay, I'm not sure what I have to do, but whoever it is, state your name, where you live, and you're up. Maybe they're on mute by accident, whoever that person is.
They are. So it's Mr. Cochia, and he needs to unmute himself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Cochea. I just wanted to be a part of the meeting and see what transpired, and that's all. Just want to be informed.
Thank you.
Great, thanks for joining us tonight.
I'm very I'm taken back with all the efforts that are made for the kids' education. I mean, I didn't know that there was so much put into this, so much effort put into this for the community's education, and I really appreciate it.
Well, thank
Thank
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else?
Steve, I think Sean raised his hand as well.
The table's yours, Mr. Doyle.
Thank you, Mr. Lawton. Welcome, Mr. Cochia. Please forgive me. I'm usually a very polite and calm person, but I probably shouldn't be speaking tonight because I'm a little steamed. So, and this is nothing to do. This is not levied against anyone on the school committee, and certainly not the superintendent of schools. But when stakeholders spend hours and hours of planning for the safe return of students and teachers, only to be cut down by a surprise announcement by the governor, it does us no service. I am very frustrated because of the amount of time we spend. We could have been spending on how we support kids in the fall. Whether we come back in the fall or it's distance learning, we need to plan for how we support those kids. We need to plan for all of those cuts and layoffs, because whether we're in school or out of school, we need all of those positions, or they're going to represent devastating cuts.
Yep.
And today's surprise announcement probably put us off another 2 weeks.
Agreed.
And I just really feel the need for us, as I've mentioned before, to put up the force field around West Warwick again and get down to business for what we can do best to protect our kids in our department, because it's nonsense. When stakeholders are told there is no plan, and then I'm in a meeting about planning and I'm getting texts from members about a schedule that we were told doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
It's all happening in a clandestine fashion that doesn't even include the primary stakeholders in the state of Rhode Island. And it's obscene. And meanwhile, there are 11 people waiting to know if they have jobs next year. And we can't even begin to talk about what school looks like, because we're told to plan a certain way. We spend hours and hours on that plan. And then we're told today that plan's off the table in a day's notice.
Yep.
An hour's notice.
Yep.
I was in my car driving to a meeting, so I couldn't even see the press release.
About planning.
Yeah.
About planning. We're going to a meeting about planning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Sean, I agree with you 100%. The only solace that I have after hearing that is I know how closely we, as a school committee and a superintendent, work with you guys and also work with the town. And to me, that's what I knew. Like, I feel that throughout this entire process, we have been ahead of everyone, frankly. I mean, I would absolutely put our district against anyone's. So I understand the frustrations, and I totally agree with you 1,000,000%. But I definitely am of the opinion that I know that we're going to get through this, even though it will set us back a couple of weeks and time and discussions. And I understand the frustration with not acknowledging clearly what's happening and what we're doing. But at the same time, I know that we're going to work together, and we want those 11 folks back equally as bad.
And we always, you know, our at least short-term 7-year history is that we work together and we solve problems.
Right.
But we can't solve problems if they keep on moving the target and changing the rules.
I agree.
And no one should agree with me here in any type of political position, maybe, but that was a total show for the general public today. That's what that was. Because that's a goal. We talked about that being a goal. That is the loftiest goal I've ever been asked to achieve in my career.
And Sean, it bothers me too, in that decisions that affect our children are being made by people as far removed from the children as could be. All right, rather than having people in our community that know the kids, deal with the kids, know the teaching force, having them make those decisions is why we've been successful. And I share your frustration.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree with you, Sean, and I agree with you, Louie, in that our proven success is our collaborative efforts, practice, will to work together with both unions and the town for the good of the kids. It boils down to that. We are here, we have one job, and it's to service our students and our families and our staff in a safe, healthy environment.
Yep.
So despite, Sean uses that term force field every once in a while, and it's fitting. It's fitting though. You know what? We do that very well, and we will be okay. Whatever it's gonna be, we will do the best we can for the kids, families, and the staff in the safest possible way. And that's our main concern, and always will be.
Thank you, guys. And I got to make one last confession. Every time I hear that there's a request for maternity leave, I think I have to lose weight. I figured I'd put a smile on your face. Sorry, Aubrey. I know it's not on the agenda.
That's right. Not on the agenda.
Everyone set, Stevie?
I think we're done. Just need a motion to say.
Okay, thank you. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion. Second.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Stay safe.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.